Playing with Paws. Hiss. Aunt Trish's cat, Paws, flashed his teeth at Roy. Slow down, Aunt Trish told Roy. She didn't look pleased. You shouldn't move so fast around cats. Roy stepped away from Paws. He didn't know anything about cats. Back home, he had 2 dogs. But Roy's mom was away on a trip. So Roy had to stay with Aunt Trish and Paws for a week. Paws has never been around kids, Aunt Trish said, petting the cat. I hope you two can get along. Paws rubbed against Aunt Trish's hand and purred. But when Roy put his hand out, Paws ran off and hid under the couch. Roy felt worried. It looked like it was going to be a hard week. For lunch, Aunt Trish made fish sticks. They smelled very fishy. Roy tried not to make a face. Suddenly, Paws jumped onto the table. Paws loves fish sticks, don't you, sweetie? Aunt Trish said, talking to the cat like he was a baby. Then she fed him a fish stick right off her plate. Paws gobbled up the fish stick and raced off. Aunt Trish just smiled. She smiled at everything Paws did. Roy wished she would smile at him like that. I need to make friends with Paws, Roy thought. Later, when Paws stretched out on his back, Roy rubbed the cat's tummy. His dogs loved that. But Paws hissed and tried to scratch Roy with his sharp claws. Paws doesn't like that, Aunt Trish snapped. While Aunt Trish took a nap that afternoon, Roy tried to do a puzzle, but Paws kept getting in the way. First, Paws jumped up and sat on the puzzle. Then, Paws broke apart a row of pieces Roy had just put together. Stop it, Roy shouted. But Paws didn't listen. He started hitting puzzle pieces with his paws. Clink, clink, clink. The pieces fell onto the floor. Stop it, Paws, Roy yelled again. How would you like it if I threw your toys around? Meow, Paws said. So Roy took a toy mouse out of the cat's toy basket. He tossed the mouse across the room. Paws blinked. Then he jumped off the table and chased after the mouse. At last, Roy could do his puzzle. Plop! Paws dropped the toy mouse at Roy's feet. Roy looked at the mouse. He looked at Paws. Paws swished his tail. Roy said. He picked up the mouse and threw it again. Paws chased after it and brought it back. Roy smiled. Okay, he said. But can you find it if I hide it? Roy waited until Paws wasn't looking, and then he hid the mouse. A minute later, Paws stuck a paw under the couch and returned the mouse to Roy. Hey, you're really smart, Roy said. Yes, he is, Aunt Trish said from the doorway. She was smiling and looking right at Roy. Thanks for playing with Paws, she said. Roy laughed and said he finally learned how to be around a kid.